So back in May, a fellow YouTuber by the name of Loxton, or Noggin, uploaded a video to his channel called My Pokemon Gym. If you haven't seen his video, which you should definitely go and watch, or one of the other myriad of videos done by the other Pokemon themed channels such as Arizo and Birdkeeper Toby, then the premise is as thus. What would happen if Game Freak came to you and asked you to design a Pokemon gym for Pokemon Sun and Moon, but design it as if you were the gym leader? Man oh man, it has been far too long since the last time I sat down and thought about what kind of Pokemon gym I would have if I was a Pokemon gym leader. Loxton, at the end of his video, or at the start, I forget, asked people to leave their gyms in the comments below his video. So I did, being the nerd I am. But then I got to thinking, why should I stop at a mere 148 line comment when I could make my own video? Which I've clearly gone ahead and done. So without further delay, here's Twi's Pokemon Gym. Okay, so before I start, Pokemon gym type. Now I could have easily chosen any type for my gym for a myriad of reasons. For example, I could have gone with a grass or a water type gym, and then gone with the idea of having a tropical island or a rainforest or an aquarium theme. I mean, hell, between grass and water, I have far too many Pokemon to choose from, so I wouldn't be stuck for choice really. That said, it made more sense for me to pick a type that I really like, or that lets me use a gym aesthetic that I really thought was unique or not really seen before. So of course I went with Ghost type. Not only is it my favourite type of Pokemon, but it's also one of the handful that have had only 2 or less gyms throughout all 6 generations so far. And you know, that just means that there's a lot of untapped potential for a really cool gym. And before anyone asks why I didn't go for one of the other types that has only had a couple of gyms, or no gym at all, like a lot of other people have done, I will say that I originally did consider doing a Dark Ghost dual type gym. But honestly, I'm way more into Ghost Pokemon than I am into Dark Pokemon. Plus, I've seen at least 4 other YouTubers pick Dark type already, and they've done the type more justice than I ever could. Anyway, back to my gym. Of course, my gym would be the 8th gym in the region, mostly so I can get away with having a full party of 6 Pokemon, all between the levels of 50 and 60, to really hammer in that challenge. On top of all that, all my Pokemon will know at least one move that inflicts some kind of negative status effect on the challenge's Pokemon, including, but not limited to, Confuse Ray, Curse, Destiny Bond, Grudge, and Spite. Most of which are actually Ghost-type moves, hurrah! Now before I talk about my team in detail, let me walk you through the gym itself. Because I mean, you have to go through the gym to reach me to start off with, right? So might as well talk about that first, right? Right. Now this is where things get interesting. The gym would be a manor on the outskirts of town that the townsfolk believe to be haunted. Speaking to a number of people within the town will result in the player being told numerous rumors about people entering the gym, but never leaving, and shadows watching people from the windows. Of course, there is some truth to their fears. It is, after all, a ghost-type gym. Now, when the player enters the manor, they will find themselves in a large foyer with a grand stairwell at the back of the room. As the camera pans around the room, it will eventually come to stop looking at the only other occupant of the room, an Absol. Suddenly you hear a clicking sound and you turn around to try and leave the gym, only to find out that you've been locked in. All that's left to do is search the building for another way out, I suppose. However, as soon as you approach the Absol, it barks and leaps away from you before the lights start flickering and go out. After about a second of darkness, the light comes back, but instead of the bright white lights, it is now a dull blue light from the chandeliers above. The candles have been mysteriously lit, even though you could have sworn that they were fake electrical candles a moment ago. But not only that, there are a few other things you notice. The foyer, which was previously pristine and proper, now sits in a state of disrepair and decay. Debris and damaged furniture litter the floor, which is filled with holes, creating a kind of maze. However, the most notable change is that there are now people in the room, one of which seems to be very close to you, but facing into a wall. You can only presume that these people are gym trainers. I mean, after all, it is a gym, and you expect trainers, right? So you approach the one that's close to you, you interact with it, that spins around, and then it screams in your face, its own face horribly contorted before vanishing. Congratulations, you've just met a ghost. It's then that you hear the barking of the Absol again, and the screen will slide over to a view of the Pokemon somewhere in the maze. The screen slides back to the player, and you're allowed to freely move about. It's time to make your way through the maze. As you progress through the maze, you'll encounter one of several things. First off are dead ends. Lots of dead ends. It is a maze after all, but these dead ends won't come just at the usual, oh, here's some debris blocking the path, you can't go further. You'll also encounter things such as doors that open up to be brick walls, so false doors, and pathways to become blocked as the furniture and other debris gets shifted into your path as you approach the otherwise open area. There will even be holes in the floor that the player can fall into, dropping them either at an earlier part of the maze into a new area of the maze if you're lucky, or even back at the start of the gym. The second thing you'll encounter are the people, or, as you've probably suspected them to all be at this point, the ghosts. Interacting with most of these ghosts either causes them to scream and vanish, or to simply not react as if the player wasn't there. Others will be vaguely aware of the player, muttering about how they can't leave, or seeming to follow the player through the maze for short lengths of time, unless the player turns around to confront them, at which point they will also just vanish. Some will even just appear in front of you and proceed to walk through the player. However, to keep the players on edge, mixed in amongst all these ghosts are actual gym trainers. A mixture of hex maniacs, mediums, psychics, and channelers, all of them having 2 to 4 Pokemon each. Some of these trainers will just be standing around like any old gym trainers, but most of them will be in hiding. They'll confront you upon opening a false door, or pop out of a creepy painting as you walk past it. When initiating battle or upon being defeated, they'll utter lines such as, "Can't get out," and "They won't let us leave." Of course, these trainers will be using Ghost-type Pokemon, mostly from the Gengar, Chandelure, Trevenant, and Gourgeist lines. They would focus on using Ghost-type moves such as Curse and Confuse Ray to whittle down the health of your party, causing you to progress slowly and use up a lot of your items as you go through. The final thing that the player will encounter is the Absol, the same one you saw when you first entered the gym. Every time you approach it, it will bark and leap away, occasionally leaving you to fight a trainer, but most importantly, it causes the lights to dim and come back up, revealing that the entire manor has been rearranged, the maze has changed, and every time you have to find your way back to the Absol. Eventually this will lead you to reaching the grand stairwell, where you'll approach a single solitary man. It is I, the gym leader. Tall and gaunt, my sunken eyes stare out from beneath a wide-brimmed hat. I'm wearing a heavy brown coat over the top of a white shirt and black pants, looking more like a tired old businessman or private eye than a gym leader. I offer no words of wisdom or encouragement before our battle. I merely laugh as the fight initiates. Okay, now it's time to introduce you to my party. Up until this point, the player will have faced roughly 10 different kinds of Pokemon from 4 different evolution lines while battling the gym trainers. No doubt you're expecting my party to be a combination of these Pokemon, and maybe 1 or 2 other kinds outside of that. But lo and behold, the first Pokemon I actually send out is Absol. Yes, the exact same Absol that you've been chasing through the manor this whole time. But this is a Ghost-type gym, I hear you shout in disbelief. Well, yes it is, but think about it. Absol is the disaster Pokemon. It only appears before something terrible occurs, and as such is often regarded as an ill omen, a bringer of doom. Ghosts are often found in places where beings have perished in disasters, and are often believed to bring disasters themselves. Having Absol lead out the party is symbolic of the calm before the storm, so to speak, a warning to challengers before they are faced with a ghastly army of spirits seeking to drag your Pokemon into an early grave, or at least into a state of unconsciousness. Anyway, back to the fight. As I said, the first Pokemon I'll be sending out is Absol at level 52. It will have the Pressure ability and the following moves: Perish Song, Psycho Cut, Sucker Punch, and Pursuit. Being a physical damage glass cannon, most of these attacks are physical based and are designed to simply smack your Pokemon down as much as possible before Absol faints himself, and throwing in Perish Song for good measure, and Pressure will just cut down the amount of PP your Pokemon that faces Absol will have for their moves when facing the rest of my party. It's a good way to put on, well, the pressure, so to speak. Following up that, you have the following. A level 54 Miss Magius with the Levitate ability and the moves Shadow Ball, Hex, Confuse Ray, and Magical Leaf. A level 54 Chandelure with the Flame Body ability and the moves Shadow Ball, Flame Burst, Curse, and Pain Split. A level 56 Gengar with the Levitate ability and the moves Shadow Ball, Toxic, Dark Pulse, and Destiny Bond. A level 56 Frostlass with the Cursed Body ability and the moves Shadow Ball, Blizzard, Draining Kiss, and Wake Up Slap. And last but not least, my all-time favourite ghost Pokemon and the star of this party, a level 58 Bennett. It will have the Cursed Body ability, but that won't be a huge factor, as the moment Bennett goes into attack, it will evolve into Mega Bennett with the Prankster ability. On top of all that, it will have the following moves: Phantom Force, Sucker Punch, Curse, and Will-O-Wisp. Once you defeated me, I will laugh again and present the player with the following rewards: the TM for Shadow Ball, the signature move for most of my party; the Haunted Badge, which resembles a black fireball with a purple outline. The center of the badge will feature a pair of spooky eyes and a large Cheshire Cat-style grin that it derived its original names from: the Cheshire Grin Badge and the Grinning Shadows Badge. I changed the name when I realized that badges generally only have a single word name and not a double word name, because double word names kinda sound a bit off. And finally, as a special gift for finally defeating all 8 gyms, I will give you either the Bennettite or the Absolite, depending on which version of the game you're playing. After giving you your rewards, I would tell the player that I will be keeping an eye on them from now on, and the lights will go out. When they come back up again, the players will find themselves in the foyer as it was when they first entered the gym, and in place of the gym leader is a statue of a man holding a cane that looks suspiciously like the gym leader, with an Absol by his side. A loud clicking sound lets the player know that the front door has unlocked and they are free to leave. As a special bonus, interacting with the statue reveals a plaque that tells how the statue was built in memory of the original owner of the manor and his beloved Absol after they perished saving townsfolk from a great fire many years ago. And there it is, that's my Pokemon gym, the Haunted Manor Gym. What do you think about it? Would you love to challenge my gym for yourself? Or is it a bit much? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, or tell me about your own Pokemon gym. Hell, make your own video if you want. Now if you excuse me, I have to go catch myself some more ghosts. Catch you next time. Cheers.